Meantime, Colorado Republicans are furious at state Democrats' effort to spend taxpayer money to fight President Trump. A new Democratic bill is now set for a full House vote. It earmarks $4 million that could be used against the Trump administration in court. One state representative posted $4 million taken from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to give the governor a blank check of $4 million to sue the federal government. That's what we're arguing against today. You cannot make this stuff up. Roads are crumbling, crime is through the roof, education is failing our kids, we are overregulated and overtaxed. Coloradans cannot afford basic necessities or health care. Colorado may be taking a page out of California Governor Gavin Newsom's book, though. He has set aside $50 million in taxpayer funds to support legal fights against President Trump's agenda. Republican State Representative Rose Pugliese, Colorado State House Minority Leader. Thank you very much for being with us. I appreciate your time, and I want to get right to it, because this $4 million, as some of your colleagues on your side of the aisle have pointed out, was supposed to go to roads and bridges and now could be used to defend, I guess, what the Democrats want to protect from overreach. But at the same time, you know, how do you justify taking that money and using it for this cause?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think this is an important issue, not just for Colorado, but across the country. What we're seeing is, you know, the Trump administration has said, we are going to take a pause. We're going to evaluate grants. We're going to make sure they're going to the people in which they were intended to go. And we're going to confirm that states are in compliance. That is just good governance. And what the Democrats are using this as is an opportunity for political gamemanship, basically. They're saying, you know, we had a $1.2 billion budget shortfall. We had to cut programs in order to make the budget balance. And then here they are, they're setting aside $4 million, not to the attorney general, but to the governor. And so if the state's in compliance, they should not be worried. If they believe that they need to defend the rights of Coloradans, I don't know why it's going to the governor and not the attorney general, who deals with compliance and litigation issues.
That's a very good point. And to the other point that you made, you know, it does seem like the state would probably not be in compliance, at least with some of the recent bills that were passed this session. Some of them require taxpayers to fund abortion services, mandate insurance cover transgender procedures, imposes state-mandated gender policies on schools. You know, is that why the Democrats in the State House are trying to use this money for this cause, because they know that they're going to be, you know, in the crosshairs from the federal government?
You know, I've had these conversations with the governor and with Democrat leadership in the House and said, you know, you're passing bills that are concerning to me. On the one hand, you're saying you are worried about the cutting of federal funds. At the other hand, you are passing bills that may not conform with the president's agenda. And, you know, they talk about state sovereignty. Obviously, we believe that under the 10th Amendment, we have sovereignty. But you can't continue to poke the administration and then expect no consequences.
I want to also ask you about this other bill, because it's pretty controversial. HB 25-1312. It adds misgendering and dead naming to acts of discrimination. It would basically allow the courts to consider these acts during child custody hearings. Two parents wrote this opinion piece titled Colorado's Totalitarian Transgenderism Bill. They say that their daughters went through a phase of believing that they were boys before recognizing their female identities. And they write, we never affirmed that belief, although their schools and much of the broader culture did. A bill under consideration in Colorado would define parents like us as child abusers. It is an assault on reality and on the foundational freedom that makes the United States a beacon of liberty. You know, one of the points that they make here in this piece is that part of the text would actually effectively muzzle parents from speaking publicly about this stuff, because it says that basically you cannot talk about these issues of misgendering and dead naming in public spaces. It would add that to the list of acts of discrimination, and that effectively, they write, is a gag order that prevents public scrutiny of this. What's your take?
You know, I'm a single mom. I raised two children on my own. We have a God-given right as parents to raise our children in accordance with our values. And basically, the offense on this bill is the attack on parental rights, that if you don't follow a certain ideology, that you can be in violation of discrimination. There's also a child custody piece where you could literally potentially have that used against you in a court proceeding for your children. I mean, it's just a bridge too far for parents. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, unaffiliated, parental rights is an issue that transcends party lines. And we have heard from parents from all over the state, irrespective of party affiliation, that this is a huge issue and they want us to continue to fight back.
Yeah, tell me a little more about that briefly in the time we have left, because it's not just, telling you how to parent your kids, but also telling you that you can't talk about it that way, or you might also lose custody of them. 15 seconds left, real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we have the right to raise our kids in the way that we need to. We shouldn't be worried about losing our children in a child custody battle. And I work with domestic violence survivors all the time, and they're afraid of this being used against them.
Thank you so much, Rose Pugliese. Appreciate your time.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.